everyone, and welcome. My name is Patty Bailey, and I'm joining you from the Moore Memorial Library. And we have a special guest here today, and it's Marcia Mota. She's the founder and president of Bay State Animal Cooperative, located in Norwood here. Marcia will be answering some questions about adoptions. Marcia, first of all, could you tell us a little bit about Bay State Animal Cooperative?
Sure, thanks Patty, thanks for having me, I appreciate it. So Bay State Animal Cooperative has been around since, or has been incorporated since 2009. However, a majority of the volunteers, including myself, have been doing cat rescue for many more years than that, probably back in the 80s. We're a 501c3. We are a no-kill rescue, and we are a cat rescue. The reason I had started Bay State was primarily because there's very limited resources in the day, in the many years back, for cats. So there's much more rescue, and there was much more involvement in the shelters with cats. With dogs. So I wanted to do something more for the cats, and I had been involved with other groups, and I enjoyed doing, the rescue, and so decided to open my own group, and the rest is history. We're plugging away little by little.
So what is your vision for the Bay State Animal Cooperative?
So to simplify, our mission would be, if you read it, we have it on our website, but is basically we want to rescue, rehome, and take care of injured cats that come about in the community. So for example, if you find a stray and it's injured, we will get phone calls for a lot of strays that are injured. And so what we do is we want to first get them in, even if they're owned, we want to get them in when they're injured, get them cared for, make sure they're safe. And then we can go to find the owners, and if they're not owned, we will then medically care for them regardless, and get them back on their feet and adopt them out. But basically, it's the community cats. We do a lot with trap, neuter, return. We're doing less than we used to because, fortunately, there are a few less colonies of feral cats than there used to be. Back in the 80s, I was out monthly doing trapping, or weekly trapping 20 to 30 cats a month for clinics that we went to. And now it's, yes, they're still out there, and there's a lot of communities who still need them, but we are more so now helping with the, cats around the communities that someone calls and says, I have a stray in my backyard, and then we start researching, well, is it really a stray? Is it a neighbor's cat? Is it injured? Is it safe? And then we go from there to decide whether it's coming in immediately or whether it's one that we're going to track and kind of follow and make sure it's okay. And then always use the community's help. We ask the community to be a part of it because they're not ours any more than they're yours. Mm-hmm. So we just kind of rehome them, and as if they need it. But we also really work on the ones that are injured, try to help them.
Can you explain the idea of agree, not free in regard to animal adoption?
I would love to. So I kind of crafted that up myself, and we're always talking about shop and not adopt, because cats in general, most people aren't shopping for the cats as much as they do for dogs. So with a cat, I was looking at it as agree, not free, because many people think that when you get a cat from an unspayed friend's cat, that you have a free cat. And the reality is it's not free. Free is never free, as we all find out. So agree, not free means I would, try to encourage people to sign an agreement, which is what we require with a no-kill shelter, and that agreement comes with a lot. So what it comes with is our support, or any no-kill shelter or shelter support. So you get the support that you're going to have the right cat. You're going to have the cat that fits your family. You're also going to have the support that will take the cat back if it was an absolutely incorrect fit, which happens. We try our hardest to make sure it's the best fit we can. It also ensures that the cat is going to have been already seen a vet. It's going to be spayed or neutered. We want the cat to be tracked if it was ever lost, so we put a microchip. We also treat them for any ailments they have. So again, you can take a cat from your friend for free, and it may come down with a heart murmur, which develops into cardiac issues, and all of a sudden your free cat is now costing you thousands a month for a cardiologist. So the idea of free is never free, but also if people don't commit to that, and that's where the agree comes in. If people aren't committing with an agreement, we're concerned that people are not understanding that it's not free. You're gonna spend a lot more money in the long run taking care of a cat to get it spayed and neutered on your own, vaccinated, combo tested for feline leukemia, AIDS, and any other issues that it may have than it would be for an adoption fee. But again, you get a package, and the package is the right fit. We also, we make sure that it's the right time for you. So a lot of times kittens are so cute. Oh, we all want them. But it can be a temporary thing. It can be, I want them until they're grown up. And again, that free kitten, especially a boy kitten, all of a sudden is spraying all over your house, and you're more apt to say, I wish I got the one that I had to adopt with an adoption fee because it would have already been neutered, and now I have a cat that's spraying. So that's the idea, to agree, make an agreement with a shelter, commit, and know that free is not free.
And what about adopt, not shop?
Yes, so that we hear a lot. So the idea of adopting and not shopping would be going with breeds of either dogs or cats. Cats are less apt to be sought after, however, many do. And we can show Talia, who we have here, as an example of a breed that's someone breeds and sells them. When you get one, again, back to the shopping, nobody's screening and nobody's giving the right animal to the right home. And I can speak with experience from cats and dogs of animals being placed that do not belong in families. And what happens is those breeds and purebreds don't fit the family for whatever reason, and the family may not even be aware of some of the genetic issues with certain breeds, because a breed is not going to tell you that their Shar-Pei has a ton of allergies and lots of skin issues. They're not going to tell you that, because then you're not going to want it as much. So they're going to just go with the cuteness and say, oh, but it's good for a family. So finding the right fit, you're going to find, again, more with that adoption. And when you adopt, again, they fit you with the right dog or cat. And again, you're going to get a lot with it, which, again, when you when you shop, you're not getting anything in most cases other than their puppy or kitten shot, maybe if you're lucky. And then from there, it's all yours. So again, same thing, don't shop, adopt, because believe it or not, you can go to a shelter and you can find those purebreds in shelters, and there are a lot of purebred rescues, dogs and cats, because even a purebred gets given up to a shelter all the time. I've gotten my own dogs and cats, or my cats I shouldn't say, I get them from shelters since I get my own, but dogs always from people that have given up. I had a purebred Min Pin, I had a purebred Chihuahua, I've had purebred Husky, all from, again, shelters. So that's the idea of, let's again not support these breeders, because even when we get breeds from down south and we're told they're from a breeder, if you don't see the mother and the father and the birthing place, I'm sorry to say, in a majority of those cases, those are backyard breeders, and those are what we're trying to shut down in our society. We don't need those. They're not cared for well. It's a cruel environment.
Is that what you'd call the puppy mill?
Yes, exactly. Backyard breeder, puppy mill, very similar. And again, all those dogs that don't get adopted end up going to shelters down south, and then they come up here. So in the end, they may seem like they're just strays, but in a lot of those cases, people are breeding them. So we just want to kind of stop that cycle.
Well, having worked with you in the past with adoptions, I do have to say that you're educating the potential adoptive folks.
We try to.
The contract that they're agreeing to is for the animals' well-being, with certain expectations that they're agreeing to about keeping the cats inside. If they're renters, the landlord's on board with them.
Yep.
That if they were prior pet owners, that they have a good record with a vet. And also that if for whatever reason the cat doesn't work out, that to return it to the shelter and not just rehome it.
Right.
Because I know how you are about, and how you train adoption counselors, how to carefully screen the potential adopters just to make that perfect fit.
Right.
And
That's important.
there's a lot of really wonderful success stories that have happened, which I can attest to myself.
Exactly.
That it's just great, and it's very fulfilling that you know that you're giving an animal a second chance. Do you have any success stories offhand that you'd like to share?
So I'm going to tell you at least one that I was thinking of that is, well, two of them that are success stories, but they're not so much just the many adoption successes. For example, Patty, you know, where you were a foster, and then you know you fell in love with a couple of the kittens, and you adopted. So those are successes, and we have a lot of really good fits, and those are wonderful stories. We also have some of the stories that start out not so good. So I'm going to talk about a cat named Prescott. So found at the Prescott School area. This cat had been seen outside of a home on their outdoor cameras for quite some time. And they're friends of mine, and they were checking in with me, and the cat wasn't consistent, so it wasn't a trapping situation yet. And then it came a little more often, and we said, let's start trapping. And then we were unable to get the cat initially. And then I got word that the cat was limping. And I got, oh goodness, you know, that now something happened to the cat. So we were able, with the help of the homeowner, we're able to trap the cat. And Prescott came to me with a collar that was not a breakaway collar, so cats cannot have anything but a breakaway collar, wrapped around its neck and under its arm, and it was embedded into its skin, right in. So when I took it out, this cat was in so much pain and yet was so appreciative. I literally pulled the collar out from the skin. So it was embedded in the skin, all infected, all dead skin basically, and he was just a sweetheart. So started caring for him, brought him to the vet. It took us almost 6 to 8 months for that wound to heal. He had 2 surgeries at Angel Memorial. He went to our local vet, but again, that's what we do. We dedicate. If an animal has an injury, we're all in. So it's like through sickness and in health, like a marriage. When we take an animal in, we're all in. So we can only do what we do, you know, with resources. So it's when we have the resources is when we say, yes, we can, and that's the way it works. But he ended up being adopted by a woman a young girl actually, who worked at a veterinary hospital. And she brings him to work every now and again, and he is absolutely beautiful and such a nice cat. It was a great story. It was really good. That's one of many. But a lot of them are the big successes are the ones that were on, like, you know, death's row, or, you know, really down and out, and we were able to bring them back and then, you know, get them socialized and get them to a home. And those you don't forget those. Those are great. Yeah.
So it seems to be there's an issue with pandemic pets now.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to explain a little bit of that?
Sure. So we haven't even got hit yet with pandemic pets. It's just beginning. So as people, and it's going to be more with dogs than cats. There's a couple of different scenarios that are going to happen. So with the dogs, it's going to be all of a sudden people need a place for the dog to go when they have to go back to work. And that dog isn't as easy as they thought it was going to be. Or it didn't train as well, or they didn't train it as well, or whatever. So the dogs were afraid as a animal community are going to start hitting the shelters. So that's what might happen with the dogs. However, it's also, I think there might be a lot more knowledge of dog walkers and dog caretakers that will actually develop from this too. So it actually could be a new, you know, employment opportunity for people, and also for people to be able to have their dogs go socialize with someone else. So that could be the good side of it. With the cats, we haven't gotten hit yet. And I think what's going to happen, we're going to see with the cats is, again, the cute little kitten next door that they now feel like they have all the time in the world for, but it was free and they took it in, and now they're not happy with it because it's spraying in the house, or it's behaving crazy, which I can speak currently that we have 2 cats in that situation where one was rescued because it was literally thrown outdoors because it was too crazy. And another one, a situation where it's let outdoors and it's not neutered and it's spraying everywhere. So these are what we're gonna see is that cute, free kitten is now gonna be a pain for the owner. Because kittens are kittens, and I don't care, I will never tell a person what a personality of a kitten's gonna be. I say, wait for 6 months. We'll tell you in 6 months. If we have that kitten in 6 months, I'll tell you its personality. Prior to that, anything goes. Anything goes.
Now, what about the importance of keeping cats indoors as opposed to outside?
That'll be an argument that we could have forever with those people who feel it's important for them to stay outdoors. And I hate to say it, but what I sometimes say is, ask your cat that was killed by the coyote how it felt, when it was getting killed. I don't think we give them the opportunity to make that choice. Again, it's just like our children. We don't let our children run in the street and play, even if they like it, because we say it's not safe. So unfortunately, cats should stay indoors, and I say that with a should, because we as humans are very capable of giving them plenty of enrichment indoors. And I've seen it from many people that care for their cats or adopted to. People will make what's called catios, so they have indoor-outdoor pens for their cats. A lot of people will screen in their porches, and now there's another avenue for them to have outdoor air and freedom. They don't need to be killing mice and killing animals for them to be happy. That's when, as a predator, it's instinct, but it's not something that they have to do to be happy. So it's about entertaining the cats indoors so that they become great indoor pets. If they're outdoors, there's just too many predators out there right now, besides humans with cars. Bad people out there, and people who care so much that they steal your cat. I mean, they care so much, that's all they can do is they care, but they take it in, and right or wrong, they're just doing what they think is right, but you may lose your cat that way. And unfortunately, just fleas and ticks, bites, higher injury, there's so many different things that are bad about it. And we're always there for someone if they want to get some ideas on how to keep a cat in. I can tell you firsthand, thousands of cats I've dealt with, and I can tell you that there's been a handful that I would say are truly outdoor cats that we could never really, train to stay indoors for their happiness. A handful, and that's out of thousands. And these are cats that were born and raised outdoors, and we were still able to keep them in. There are tricks, there are ideas, there are suggestions. We're always available if someone sends us an email or a text or a message just saying, my cat won't stay away from the door, what do I do? We're happy to help out. But there are ways to do it, and high quality life living indoors.
Yeah, they certainly live much longer because they're healthier and safer being indoors.
Yep, they don't get the feline leukemia, the AIDS, the different things that can kill them. They don't bother other cats. They don't. All win-win. So what can we do to support Bay State or any other shelter in the area? So there's several things. Obviously, everyone will take money, because money helps with the medical care. So I'd say, one of the biggest expenses I think most groups have would be, the medical care. The other thing, any organization that's a no-kill, most likely is either a shelter, is either a foster care, dog or cat group. And with that, we need foster. So foster care for dogs and cats is very important. For every foster person we have, a cat can be rescued. So if we don't have a foster, the cat can't be rescued. You can only do so much if you don't have fosters, because the fosters give them a temporary home, they give them the socialization they need. We support that foster with education and resources. But I could say almost every group, and I know dog and cat rescue groups that would say foster is very important aspect of it. The other thing is if we're feeding feral colonies or if we're feeding long-term cat care, food supply, and for example, in our case, if you go to our website and you go to Chewy, we have a wish list on Chewy.com, and that gets delivered directly to our house, and it's been one of the biggest, most recent donation option that we are really enjoying, because we put down exactly what we need, and people go on, they buy it, it goes right to us, and it's saving us a lot of money in the long-term care of cats. Because when we have a cat, no matter what its history, no matter what its medical need, no matter its socialization or behavior, we keep it forever. And we have several of those that we have forever. And so they'll be with us till they die, which means they're gonna be seniors, and when they're seniors, there's gonna be medical care that's gonna be needed.
So if someone was interested in perhaps being a foster, would you, what would you say to them? Would you say reach out and you'd give them further information?
So what I would suggest is going, in our case, to our website and sending us an email, or just sending us an email. We're at info@baystateanimals.org. But other groups also, so I mean, we encourage anyone to, whatever group you want to be involved with, go in to see if they need foster. And then what we would do is we then try to find out what it is you're looking for. Because unfortunately, a foster sometimes can't be short-term, sometimes it can't be long, it might be long-term. So we would need to know what can you do and and again, we still have to have a fit. So I'm not gonna give a aggressive tomcat to a family with 3 young children. But I will give an aggressive tomcat to someone who is experienced and wants to foster and socialize. So we definitely have to do the same kind of thing, a fit. One thing I always tell people when you're looking to donate to rescues, please do your due diligence. Go and find out about that group, where their money's going, how much is going to administrative fees. You'd be surprised at the millions that are being spent at some of the bigger organizations. Millions on administration. Stay local. Stay down with the grassroots groups, because we're the ones, we and others like us are on the ground, and we're doing one cat at a time, one dog at a time. But your resources are key to groups like us. And again, no kill is no kill. Open admission is not no kill. Okay, so make sure you know and ask the question. If I brought a cat to you and you're a open admission and it has feline leukemia, what are you going to do with it? Or I have a cat that's really aggressive and urinates all over the house and I'm going to give it to you, what are you going to do with it? So those are the important questions to ask.
Well, I do have to say my experience with your group over the years, I learned so much, and I really did not understand all that was involved, and I give you so much credit for all your many years of dedication. It's very gratifying, but it's not easy, and I know it's even
but
though it is,
like you said, gratifying, it's
right.
Rewarding, very rewarding.
Right.
So like we can introduce our little
Yes, would
Talia.
you like to introduce Talia?
So no, you can't adopt her. This is Talia. She's an example of what we were talking about with shop, adopt, don't shop. So Talia is called a munchkin. So she was bred by a breeder. She has very short legs. With that, she also has genetically, she's deformed. I mean, she was made genetically to have short legs, which means probably when she gets older, she's going to have some arthritis and some issues in her joints. And the other problem that she had initially when we got her as a rescue, believe it or not, a rescue, was that she had a lot of ear infections and nasal because of her small framed head. It's actually a little smaller than your average, even though it doesn't look it, but it is internally. And she had a sibling that was called a minskin, and that was another cat that was bred by this breeder, and it was a combination of a munchkin and a hairless. That cat had so many issues. The skin allergies were horrific. It had a lot of nasal and upper respiratory problems, and ended up having to be on a nebulizer, and still to this day is nebulized by its foster person who adopted her, and has to go into a nebulizer little carrier each day for 15 minutes, 2-3 times a day. So it's a highly dedicated person to do it. But the point being, this breeder breeds these and passes them along, and I'm sure there's no one telling the person who's adopting, oh, they're probably going to have skin allergies. They're probably going to have a higher risk of infections because of this and that. So here's an example. She came to us and she was abused. She was thrown into a closet, her and her sister, and lived there for long enough that somebody saw that this was happening and reported it, and we were able to rescue her and her sister. And she's as fresh as can be, but she's awesome. Natalia.
Wow.
But she says, I'm a breed. I'm a purebred brat.
Well, Masha, I want to thank you for taking the time out and chatting with me today about it, just so folks that come into the library will find out that we have a display on the second floor all about adopting both cats and dogs. And there's adult books as well as children's books. And if you want to find out more about Masha's Bay State Animal Cooperative, we will share that information on the screen. Thank you, Masha, for coming this evening.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.